It was a crisp morning in the tidy, tree-lined streets of Willow Grove Estates, the kind of place where every lawn looked like it had been trimmed with a ruler. Emma Larson, a woman who'd seen her share of chaos but craved peace, stepped out her front door with her CERVYC dog. Cooper, a golden retriever with a coat like warm honey and eyes that seemed to understand her better than most people. Cooper wasn't just a pet, was her lifeline, her anchor through the storms of PTSD from a career that had left scars deeper than she'd ever admit. But that morning, peace was the last thing she'd find. It started with a smell. Not the usual scent of dew or fresh-cut grass, but something like death itself had curled up in the air. It hit Emma before she even reached the curb, where her forest green mailbox stood, usually stuffed with nothing scarier than utility bills. Cooper froze, his usual calm replaced by a low growl, his hackles up, his gaze locked on the mailbox like it was a coiled snake. Emma's stomach twisted. Cooper didn't spook easily. His training as a CERVYC dog made him a levying radar for trouble. "What's wrong, buddy?" she murmured, her hand on his head, though her own nerves were already buzzing. She edged closer, her free hand brushing the pepper spray clipped to her belt, a habit from her days as a lead investigator for the state's Environmental Crime Task Force, a job she kept under wraps from her nosy neighbors. The smell grew thicker, choking, as she lifted the mailbox flap. What she saw made her gag, her VY sound blurring. No letters, no flyers, just dozens of dead mice. Their tiny bodies twisted, some fresh, others rotting, their blank eyes staring up like a grotesque warning. The stench was a punch to the gut, but the realization hit harder. This wasn't random. This was personal. This was about Cooper. Emma's mind, sharpened by years of chasing polluters and poachers, kicked into gear. Biohazard, deliberate, threat. And then it clicked. Lisa Hammond, the HOA president, a woman who ruled Willow Grove like a queen obsessed with perfection. Just days earlier, Lisa had cornered Emma during an evening walk, her voice syrupy but laced with venom. "Agent Larson," she'd sneered, tossing Emma's vague mention of state work back at her like a jab. "I must insist you rethink keeping such a large animal here. Dogs like that shed. They disrupt our pristine community. They're unsanitary. Perhaps you should rehome it for everyone's sake." Emma had kept her cool, explaining that Cooper was a certified CERVYC dog, protected by law, his behavior were flawless. Lisa's lips had thinned, her eyes cold. "Laws can bend, Agent Larson. Some things just don't belong." Then she'd stalked off, her heels clicking like a countdown. Now, staring at the rotting pile in her mailbox, Emma knew Lisa's words weren't idle. This was Wara's sick, calculated strike meant to scare her, to drive Cooper out. What Lisa didn't know was that she'd just picked a fight with someone who'd spent her life dismantling criminals far worse than a suburban tyrant. Emma's blood ran cold, then hot with a protective fury. Nobody threatened Cooper. Nobody. She called her husband, David, a quiet librarian who rarely lost his temper. When he saw the mailbox, his face went from pale to crimson. "That woman," he growled, his voice shaking. "This isn't a prank, Emma. This is a threat." Emma nodded, her investigator's calm taking over. She grabbed her EVY Denke kit gloves, bags, swaps, and got to work. She photographed every angle, then carefully bagged each of the 17 mice, her stomach churning but her hands steady. Cooper pressed against her leg, whining softly, a reminder of what was at stake. The local sheriff's department was useless. 2 young deputies showed up, scratched their heads at the empty mailbox, and called it vandalism, maybe kids. They took the bag mice, but didn't seem eager to dig deeper. The HOA management company was even worse, promising to re-VYEW her complaint in weeks, maybe months. When the deputies questioned Lisa, she played the shocked VY Tim, shedding fake tears and hinting Emma might have staged it herself. Emma's rage simmered, but she stayed focused. Lisa thought she'd won. She was wrong. The harassment didn't stop. Soon, pesticide warning signs popped up around the green space behind Emma's house, where Cooper loved to roam. No prior notice, no records of the chemicals used, suspicious for a community bound by strict rules. Emma collected soil samples, checked Cooper for residue, her heart pounding at the thought of poison. Then, at an HOA meeting, Lisa unveiled a new bylaw, a wordy attack on nuisance animals that screamed Cooper's name. It demanded DNA registration, size limits, and confined pet areas, with the power to remove any dog Lisa deemed a threat. She gave a tearful speech about health risks and vermin incidents, slyly tying Emma to the mailbox horror. The room ate it up, fear and Lisa's influence drowning out Emma's defense of Cooper's rights. The bylaw passed, and Emma felt the walls closing in. Her PTSD flared nightmares of past cases mixed with images of dead mice and Lisa's smug face. Panic attacks hit harder more often, but Cooper was there, nudging her, grounding her with his weight, his warmth. He was her rock, but even he was sufferingless playful, his eyes dull. Lisa wasn't just hurting Emma. She was breaking Cooper's spirit. That was the line Emma wouldn't let her cross. The turning point came quietly, in the sterile hum of Emma's lap. She'd snuck the mailbox EVY Denke in as a personal project. The mice weren't wild, they were albino feeder mice, the kind used for reptiles. A chalky residue on their fur glowed under UV light, and their stiff bodies suggested freezing, not poison. Then a lab tech, Mia, found something in the mailbox debris. Synthetic insulation and reptilian DNA, likely from a ball python. Emma's pulse raced. Lisa, the queen of cleanliness, keeping snakes? It was crazy, but it fit the mice, the residue, the ritualistic cruelty. Lisa had a secret, and Emma was going to expose it. She launched a covert operation, watching Lisa's every move. They caught her dumping heavy bags in a strip mall dumpster dead mice, snake skins, filthy bedding. A search of Lisa's pristine colonial revealed a nightmare. A hidden basement packed with neglected snakes and lizards, plus a squalid mouse breeding setup. The chalky residue was calcium dust for reptiles, overused by someone clueless about care. Lisa's financials showed a pricey reptile obsession, draining her funds and explaining her desperation. Cooper, calm and loved, had become her scapegoat, a symbol of her unraveling control. The showdown came at an emergency HOA meeting packed with residents, health officials, and reporters. Emma, in her task force uniform, badge shining, took the podium. "Good evening," she said, her voice steady, locking eyes with a defiant Lisa. "I'm Senior Special Agent Emma Larson." She laid it all bare: photos, videos, forensic reports, the basement horror. She listed Lisa's crimes: animal cruelty, illegal dumping, eco-terrorism for the mailbox stunt. Lisa shrank, her lawyer's bluster silenced. As Emma read the arrest warrant, handcuffs clicked on Lisa's wrists, the room erupting in gasps. The Queen of Willow Grove was dethroned. Lisa's trial was a spectacle. Her defense stress, a love for animals, crumbled under Emma's EVY Denke. She was convicted on felony charges, sentenced to years in prison, her home sold to fund animal welfare. Her name became a local curse. Emma and Cooper healed slowly, their bond unbreakable. Cooper's tail wagged again, his spirit reborn. Willow Grove reformed, its new HOA embracing fairness and compassion, with Emma's guidance shaping pet policies. One fall day, as they walked past Lisa's old house, now home to a lively family and their own happy dog, Cooper chased leaves, his joy a beacon of triumph. Emma smiled, shadow-free at peace. But here's where it gets messy, folks. Was Lisa just a monster, or did the pressure of her secret life push her over the edge? Should Emma have gone public sooner, risking her privacy, or was her stealth takedown the only way? And what about the neighbors who cheered Lisa on? Were they complicit, or just scared? Drop your thoughts below. Hit that like button if this story got your blood pumping, and subscribe for more tales of justice and jaw-dropping twists. What would you have done in Emma's shoes?